This video is about the importance of knowing how to navigate without modern aids. By the way, the tanker, the freight ship on the image, must be one of the world's fastest freight ships, because it have a top speed of 50.7 knots. And perhaps you wonder what have this to do with navigating without modern aids. So the ship on the image is capable of 50.7 knots or 93.8 kilometers per hour. Can I prove that statement? Of course. Here you see what the ship reports. This is from marine traffic, and here is shows 50.7 knots. But it's a slight problem. The tanker is 1 kilometer from the sea in Donetsk in Ukraine, the part of Ukraine that Russia is occupying. But it's out on a field 1 kilometer from the sea. What's going on? Of course, this type of ship can't travel in those speed, and obviously it's impossible to travel with this kind of ships on a field. This information was received from the ship's IES, a system that received its position from satellites. So what's happening here? Is the satellites broken? Have they broke down? Have they crashed to the Earth? The explanation is simple. The ship is in a war zone. GPS is important for navigation civilian ships, but also on military ships, airplanes, both civilian and military, weapon systems, drones. All of them uses information signals from GPS satellites. So in the modern war, you send false GPS signals to make the life not so easy for your enemies. But it's not only the military who would have a problem. You would have big problems to navigate in your Tesla or your own helicopter. But it's not only systems using a GPS that have problem. Using radars for navigation on military ships or civilian ships can be impossible or hard to use in areas where someone wants you not to be. This is the Baltic Sea, and around that sea you have Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany, Denmark, and of course also Russia. This area is one of those that have been heavily affected by GPS disturbances and radar disturbances. Only this spring 2025, 36,000 flights with commercial airliners have had problem with the GPS. And that is a big security risk. So, who is behind this? Who have something to gain on this? Russia. Here you have 3 big naval bases. Some of the most important bases for the Russian Federation. So, is there any evidence for that claim? Of course there are. It's quite easy to determine if it's a real GPS signal from a satellite or a fake one broadcasted from the ground. The GPS satellite is rotating around the Earth on a height of 20 1,000 meters height, and they make a lap around the Earth in 12 hours. So the source of the signals is upwards and they are moving. In this area they have found 4 places that are broadcasting false GPS signals. Let's change the map and have a closer look. One location close to St. Petersburg, one close to Pskov, one close to Smolensk, and one close to Kaliningrad. All 4 in the Russian Federation. Let's have a closer look on the one close to Kaliningrad and how they did find the location. Let's zoom in on this area. A research team from Poland did do measurement from these 3 locations, and they measured the angle and the time for the signals to reach each place, so they could determine the distance and the angles to the source. And this is what they found. The signal come from Russia, from Kaliningrad. Who is surprised? So let's zoom in and see what we found in that area. The source of the signals was in this area. Let's have a closer look on that place. The name of this place is Okunevo. And who's in charge on this place? It's this unit. It's a unit in the Russian Baltic Fleet specialized in electronic warfare. Using this method, they have found several other facilities. The other 3 that I showed earlier on, and more of them, for instance, in the northern part of Russia, close to the Norwegian border and so on. They do it on many places. So is this a big problem? Of course it is. Even ordinary people in their small boats have problems sometimes to navigate. It's about safety. I have several times experienced that my smartwatch or my phone is changing time zones. And Russian government-controlled hacker groups are attacking banks, companies, and a lot of important things on internet. I often make content about flat Earth, so do these have any bearing to flat Earth? Of course it have. First, if you look on the method how to determine the source of a GPS signal. If you do that on the real GPS signals, what will you find then? The signals comes from the sky and they are moving. It's very simple to determine that. The next one, using sextants and other traditional methods for navigation when the GPS don't work. It's obvious that no flat earthers know how to navigate. They have to use GPS and modern systems to be able to find their way. Please note that this video is based on my own experiences. I know that these disturbances on radar and GPS is true. I have experienced it many times out at sea. And that is Russia behind it. It's very clear. It's very easy to prove. So please, if you're pro-Russians, I have no interest in your comments because it's so damn obvious who's behind this. So, hope you like this video. I will be back soon. Have a nice day. See you soon. Bye.